Hi viewers and subscribers, welcome to Watershed Business TV. I am Kimberly Thompson, your host, business consultant and owner of Watershed Traders. If you haven't done it already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. As promised in the last video, today we will be talking about the National Insurance Scheme. If you are a Jamaican national, if you are a Jamaican business owner, if you are a Jamaican national who is employed in Jamaica, details about the NIS should be your top priority. The National Insurance Scheme is a compulsory, that's right, it's compulsory, that means it's non-negotiable. It's a compulsory contributory funded national security scheme. Now, it is administered through the National Insurance Act, which means that, yes, it is administered through an act of parliament, meaning it is entrenched in the Constitution of Jamaica. So it's administered through the National Insurance Act, and it serves as some sort of protection for the worker and his or her family against loss of income, which can arise from unemployment, sickness, or even death of the breadwinner. Now, there are three categories of contributors to the National Insurance Scheme. The first category happen to be employed people. Now, employed people are those people who do not own their own businesses, but they are employed by others in Jamaica. These are domestic workers like chefs, butlers, chauffeurs, etc. There are also members of the security forces, teachers, civil servants, and nurses. The second group of contributors are self-employed people. Self-employed people are people who own their own businesses. They create their own employment and also sometimes employ others. This group of people include lawyers, doctors, fisher folk, farmers, consultants like myself, and interestingly, Jamaican nationals who work in foreign embassies within Jamaica are also considered to be self-employed people when it comes on to NIS contributions.
Annual income.
Now, self-employed people are required to pay 5% of their gross national insurance scheme. The third category of contributors are known as voluntary contributors. Voluntary contributors can be people who have stopped working before reaching the retirement age, people who are living in a country, they have moved to a country that does not have a reciprocal social security agreement with Jamaica for an indefinite period of time, or people who are currently unemployed. Those people are given an avenue to contribute to the National Insurance Scheme as voluntary contributors. Now, as an employer or an employed person in Jamaica, there are certain obligations that you must meet where NIS is concerned. Employers are required to pay 2.5% of the gross income for their employees, while employees are required to pay 2.5% for themselves, right? And we may say, where does all of this money go to? And that's a fair enough question. Now, the NIS money, it is invested in the National Insurance Fund. So it is invested in real estate, it is invested in money, and it is invested in some sort of equity. Now, this same money is used back to pay out NIS contributions as well as take care of administrative expenses, right? Now, I think that many people are of the opinion that the NIS is really just a pension scheme. And yes, it is, but it is a pension scheme and so much more. For example, a domestic worker can get a maternity allowance, what is called a maternity allowance, through the NIS. This maternity allowance is equivalent to 8 weeks pay of the national minimum wage at that point in time. So now the national minimum wage happens to be $15,000 per week, which means that A pregnant domestic worker can get a lump sum of $120,000. How good is that? There is also the special child benefit, and this benefit can go to the guardian of a child or children whose
Of the
mother
father is
was a
unknown.
NIS
Qualification to
contributor,
get this
the mother
benefit.
has passed on, and the whereabouts are dependent on the mother's contribution. There's also the orphan benefit, and this benefit can go to the guardian of a child or children whose parents were married or were in a common law relationship and they have passed on. Qualification to get this benefit is dependent on the contributions of either parents. So it doesn't mean that both parents would have had to be contributors. If any one of them were an NIS contributor, it means that the children may be able to get some benefit. We also have the employment injury benefit, and this can go to a contributor who was injured while in the course of insurable employment. There's also the employment injury disablement benefit. Employment injury disablement benefit is paid at the end of the employment injury period, and that is after an assessment has been done by the medical board of the NIS, and the disability assessment is in excess of 10%. Also the employment injury death benefit, and I think this one is self-explanatory, which means that it is payable to the family members of an individual who would have died due to injuries sustained during the course of insurable employment. There's also the invalidity benefit, and this benefit can go to an individual who would have sustained injuries and are incapable of resuming normal work for a continuous period of 26 weeks or more. There are also spouse allowances available, funeral grants available, the retirement pension available, the NI Gold is also available. So like I've said before, the benefits through the National Insurance Scheme, they are plenty, and I think that these are things that you should definitely check out and become au fait with this information as Jamaican workers and as Jamaican employers. Now, to get an NIS card as a business owner, once you have registered your business, you are automatically given a NIS number. This number should be used in all of your business transactions where the NIS is concerned. Always cross-reference and double check to ensure that the correct number is being used. The same goes for employees, workers. When it comes on to the National Insurance Scheme, ensure that the correct number where you are concerned is being used at all times. To sign up for the NIS, it is pretty quick, simple, and easy. Go to a NIS office, the nearest parish office, and apply. Walk with valid identification and proof of your age. That is it for now. Until next time, when we delve right into the National Housing Trust and the benefits that you can get as a Jamaican employer, a Jamaican worker, and a Jamaican taxpayer. Please remember, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Kimberly Thompson, signing out from Watershed Business TV.